In the headlines, EFCC gets court order to detain Accountant General of the Federation over fraud. Governor El-Rufai raises alarm over presence of Boko Haram ISWAP in Kaduna as families of abducted train passengers call for halt to resumption of service. Police in Katsina repel bandits' attack on villages in 2 local councils. And Everton staged a dramatic fight back from 2 goals down to preserve their Premier League status. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I'm Zainab Bala. Hello and welcome. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has secured a court order to detain the embattled Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, for more days. An official of the anti-graft agency who did not want to be quoted told Daily Trust that the legal department of the commission secured the order within 24 hours after Idris was arrested in Kano. Although the detective did not state the court where the order was obtained, he explained that they have been relying on the order to keep him in custody before the conclusion of investigation. The Kaduna State government has raised alarm over activities of terrorist groups in the state. Speaking at the presentation of the first quarter security report for 2022 to the State Security Council, Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs Samuel Arwan said members of Ansaru and Boko Haram terrorist groups have infiltrated some parts of Birnin Gwari and Giwa local government areas. Arwan said the terrorists have been luring locals with gifts with a view to recruiting them into criminal organizations. Governor Nasser El-Rufai expressed concern that the terrorists are moving from the northeast to the northwest with the intention of causing havoc. The governor is also worried that the conduct of the 2023 general election might be compromised in Kaduna State if the security challenges are not addressed.
So victims kidnapped in the first quarter of our 2022, we have a total of 1,389, 350 males, there are 420 females, then 79 minors, as you can see. Again, Kaduna Central Senatorial District accounts for 1,083. Chukun is leading with 287 because of several kidnappings around the Juji General area up to Gwagwada, as well as Kasarani areas. Igadi 263, we have a lot in Igadi as well, from Jerawa General area up to Sabon General area. Bendongwari 169, Giwa 158. Southern Kaduna Senatorial District account for 249.
The first great concern is the emergence of Boko Haram terrorist enclave, as well as the activities of Ansaru, particularly in Birnin Gwari and Chukun local governments. Amongst those kidnapped from the train, Abuja Kaduna train, was a former roommate and classmate of mine who was released upon payment of a ransom. And throughout the period that he was in captivity, it was very clear that the terrorists were making comments like the forests in Kaduna are even better than Sambisa, so they should all relocate here. I think this is an area we should be very concerned about, and this is why we've been making the point that the problem of insecurity now has moved from the northeast to the northwest. The situation in the northwest is far more serious and could be potentially more dangerous than we've ever had in the northeast.
Now, after 52 days in captivity, relatives of the victims of the Kaduna-Abuja train attack who are still in captivity have called on government to halt the planned resumption of the train service along the route. The leader of the victims' relatives, Fatai Jimo, at a press briefing in Kaduna, demanded the immediate replacement of the management of Nigeria Railway Corporation due to what they called gross misconduct. Lami Sadiq reports.
It's been 52 days since terrorists attacked the Abuja-Kaduna train and abducted over 60 people, most of them still in captivity. Relatives of the abducted passengers say they have been living in agony and mental instability occasioned by the continued stay of their loved ones in captivity.
The MD of NRC, Mr. Fidet Okiria, claimed in a recent interview that he has been in regular contact with the real, in quote, relatives of kidnapped passengers. Nothing can be further from the truth. We challenge Mr. Okiria to name just 10 of the real, in quote, relatives he has been dealing with out of the over 1,000 relatives of his passengers still held hostage in the forest. We want to put on record that the Managing Director of NRC, Mr. Fidet Okiria, has not met any of the relatives of abducted passengers since this incident occurred. We made several attempts to meet him and all our efforts were to no avail. We submitted the email addresses of leaders of our group to Malam Yakubu Mahmoud, Deputy Director and Spokesperson NRC, for the purpose of starting the situation room. But it has been one excuse or the other, as nothing has been done in this regard. The attitude of the top management of NRC to presidential directives is a clear testimony of gross incompetence and insensitivity to the plight of relatives of abducted passengers, and we demand their immediate replacement.
The relatives who prayed for the safe rescue of their family members called on the federal government to ensure that the Abuja-Kaduna train service is put on hold pending the release of all passengers.
We would once again like to appeal most passionately to Mr. President to direct all security agencies involved in the rescue efforts to accelerate action so that our beloved ones in captivity can be reunited with us soonest. Our prayers remain: 1. Safe rescue of family members in captivity. 2. Abuja-Kaduna train service should be put on hold until our first prayer is met and adequate security measures are put in place to guarantee the safety of prospective passengers.
They said they have been left in the dark since they cannot negotiate the release of their loved ones and called on the government to meet the demands of the terrorists to ensure their safe return. Lami Sadiq for Trust TV News.
Elsewhere, police in Katsina on Thursday repelled 2 terrorist attacks at Dabaibaya and Damkari village in Batagarawa and Lutsamalko government areas of the state. The police also said it neutralized 6 terrorists and recovered 1 AK-47 assault rifle, 110 cows, 242 sheep and goats during the operation. Abdullahi Hamadi has the details.
The police authority in Katsina says the operation followed a distress call that terrorists in their hundreds attacked Dantankari village in Dusumwa local government and rustled unspecified number of animals. It also says the area commander Dusumwa led a team of police and vigilante to block the terrorists at Mararabarasaya in Matazu local government.
Similarly, on that same date, being the 17th of May, another distress call was received in the axis of Atagarawa, Dabaibayawa village. It's a farmhouse of one of our retired Inspector General, Assistant Inspector General of Police, AIG Lawal Mani. They went to his farm and attacked the security guards in that house and cutted away all the animals.
The police assured that the search teams are combing the nearby bushes to arrest some of the fleeing terrorists.
We succeeded in arresting a member of a notorious syndicate of terrorists, one Tanimu Hashim, 23 years, of Sabangida Quarters, was arrested here in Katsina by policemen on patrol attached to the office of the area commander Metro. And in the course of investigation, he confessed that actually he belongs to the camp of one notorious leader of terrorists, Ado Serki.
Similarly, the police command said it has arrested a member of terrorist syndicate who confessed to have participated in several attacks on communities in Katsina State. I was conscripted into this case. They only asked me to follow them, not knowing they are going to steal something from the telecommunications mast in Mashi town. God knows I'm innocent. In another operation, a syndicate of vandals who specialized in stealing telecommunications cables and coils was busted and arrested in Katsina State. The 4 suspects, who are between the ages of 18 to 25, have confessed to vandalizing telecommunications masts in Mashi local government. Meanwhile, 2 suspected car thieves, Aminu Musa and Kabiru Saidu of Ketere village of Kankara local government area, were also arrested for stealing a Honda Civic with registration number ABC 800 SL.
Can da aka yi toyin su ba su san wurin ba. Kai ka kai mota wurin bakanike. Ko sai bakanike ya ce mai.
I am not a thief. In fact, I have no connection with the stolen car because I was only asked to escort them to Bauchi, which I did. This is all I know. I stole this car in Abuja using a master key. I wanted to sell it and use the money to solve some personal problems. Nemesis caught up with me and I was arrested. The Katsina State Police Command is also investigating Babangida Danjuma, Muhammad Abdurrahman, Nasiru Lawal, Abdullahi B. Muhammad, and one Ibrahim, now at large, who were arrested in possession of vehicle suspected to be stolen. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
There you go. Now, heavy presence of security operatives were spotted at the main gates of Kano International Airport, Enugu, following the planned 5 million man march by the National Association of Nigerian Students against the prolonged indefinite strike of Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. The operatives also flooded the NNPC junction, Abakaliki Road, MNA Enugu, where the students were supposed to have converged before proceeding to block the airport to prevent any form of gathering. The organizers had through flyers said that the event would begin by 9 a.m., but as early as 7 a.m., the operatives took over the venues where the proposed protest was to hold. As of the time of filing this report, the organizers of the protest were yet to be seen. The students had been mobilizing on social media platforms after the expiration of the 9-day ultimatum for the federal government and ASU to resolve the matter. You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up, challenges facing Sokoto farmers. Details of this story and more after the break. Do stay.
Welcome to Inside Abuja.
Most people who drive on Nigerian roads believe that it's only when you see a law enforcement agent that you are supposed to behave. Meanwhile, you already know what is right for you.
You cannot take what you cannot give. So they cannot come and enforce us and take what they cannot give us. So if there is something they want to take from us, there must be a unanimous arrangement that if they collect to us, they have something to give us.
Well, there's a group of vigilantes. So they are trying small. Sometimes they used to come out in the night.
For Abuja Investments Company Limited owned markets, the market itself is insured. That is for the owners of the market itself.
The carton of Nigerian chicken was 8,000 naira, but we are selling it 18,000 naira now. Kilo was 1,000 naira, 1,100 then, but now we are selling it 2,000 naira. And it is not our fault, it is the way we buy.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Trust TV News Update. Our top stories. EFCC gets court order to detain Accountant General of the Federation. Governor El-Rufai raises alarm over presence of Boko Haram ISWAP members in Kaduna. Moving on, the abducted village head of Karfi in Takai local government area of Kano State, Abdul Yahya Ilu, has regained freedom from his abductors. The abductors have, however, held an associate professor, Huzaifa, who reportedly went to deliver ransom. Daily Trust reported that the kidnappers killed 6 persons that tried to rescue the village head during his abduction, where one of them was captured by the vigilante group. Thereafter, the abductors demanded for ransom, which they successfully collected, but unfortunately held the ransom bearer, Dr. Huzaifa, in connection to their man who was captured. They demanded the release of the man as a condition to release the associate professor. Now, a resident of the area confirmed the release of the village head, but Kano State Police Command is yet to confirm his release. Commissioner of Police in Zamfara State, Ayuba Kano, has commended the efforts of religious leaders and other stakeholders in the state for ensuring that the state did not witness any breach of peace as a result of the last Saturday's incident in Sokoto metropolis. Kano gave the commendation at a peace-building meeting with religious leaders and stakeholders at the command headquarters in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital. The meeting brainstormed on how to ensure the maintenance of peace coexistence among residents irrespective of religious affiliations.
These stakeholders meeting, convened by the Zamfara State Commissioner of Police, Ayuba Kano, was aimed at averting the spillover of the unrest in Sokoto metropolis by angry Muslim youth over the murder of Deborah Samuel, a student of Shehu Shagari College of Education, over alleged blasphemy of Prophet Muhammad, and the demands for the release of the 2 suspects arrested in connection with the killing. CP Kano urged the religious leaders and relevant stakeholders to continue prevailing on their subjects to maintain peace through messages on religious tolerance and respect for one another. The Commissioner further called on parents and guardians to ensure proper monitoring of their words, especially in their use of the social media, to checkmate their daily activities.
In regards to what happened in Sokoto State, you know, Zamfara State is a contiguous state to Sokoto, and people believe that Zamfara State will join into this unfortunate incident that happened. But fortunately, the 2 leaders gave me the highest cooperation. They talked to all the followers to maintain peace and let the law take its course. Based on that, I feel honored. That is why I summoned them to my office to come and show my appreciation to them, and also to appeal to them. When they go back, they should kindly talk to their followers the need for respect for each other's religion, the need for a peaceful coexistence, so that Zamfara State will move forward. We are having another challenges of banditry and all this thing now. With this one, the thing will be too much. But I thank Almighty God that they listened to my advice and they promised me that when they go back, they will pass my message to all the Muslim faithfuls and the Christians in Zamfara State. It's one of the items we discussed with the...
In separate remarks, the religious leaders and other relevant stakeholders commended the Zamfara Police Command for summoning the meeting as well as the proper handling of the security situation in the state.
In fact, we appreciate the calling by the CP. And he advised us, and we also adopt what he said. That's one. And then we are going to deliver the message to our members, as he said. And it will pass all over the state by God's willing. Well, as the CP also say, we have to be patient and tolerant to our religion. We have to accept, and we have to be cautious of somebody's religion. We don't have to blaspheme anybody's religion. Let's respect one another. Let's respect our religion. I think that will help us.
Religious tolerance is one of the major challenges confronting the northern part of Nigeria. The recent incident in Sokoto metropolis brought to the fore and further buttresses the need for leaders at all levels to take steps to address the problem.
The Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics is calling on the federal government to honor the agreement it entered with the union to avert the collapse of the polytechnic education. The union is already on a 2-week protest strike, with its president saying it may be forced to take stiffer measures as of the 2 weeks if government takes no action. Addressing journalists at Federal Polytechnic Offa, the ASUP National Chairman Anderson Ozeibe disclosed that the government is yet to honor the memorandum of action it signed with the union.
To do the needful and redeem its image in the eyes of the Nigerian public. It is very unfortunate that 7 months after the expiration of the 3 months, making it 10 months in total, that this government is yet to fulfill those aspects. I will go to the line items. The first of which is the non-release of the 15 billion naira revitalization fund, whose approval we received in June 2022. The president of this country approved the sum of 15 billion naira to revitalize infrastructure across public polytechnics and colleges of technology in the country. And it is unconscionable to reason that 11 months after Mr. President's approval, this fund is yet to be released. The second item has to do with the non-payment of minimum wage arrears of the new minimum wage to our members. Our members have been owed since April 2019, for 10 months in arrears, accruing to them. The implication is that the government, through its agencies, have on their own decided to withhold portions of legitimate earnings of staff in different federal polytechnics across the country. Nigerian polytechnics should not be established just for the purpose of attracting TED fund grants, while workers continue to labor without their wages. As a matter of fact, and that is why we speak to standards, we do not believe that there is any form of teaching or learning that, that is going on in such places. What we have going on in such places is just pretense.
Elsewhere, farmers in Sokoto are asking the state government to ensure transparency in the distribution of farm tools and agricultural supplies, since many cannot afford fertilizer due to high cost. Trust TV's Idris Jibril reports that the high cost of fertilizer and lack of modern farming equipment is threatening farming in some parts of the state. The report.
Farming during all year round is a major occupation in Sokoto State, but the lack of government sustainable intervention seems to be threatening the productivity of these farmers.
Actually, government intervention don't usually get to us, even though we are farmers who have the zeal to farm. But we are only hearing that government is distributing farming equipment, but it never reaches us.
According to these farmers, there is the need for government to look into the difficult situation of the subsistence farmers who only cultivate to feed their families.
I think the government should know that those who are saddled with the mandate of distributing assistance are only giving it to their friends, because poor masses don't get to hear about it. Today we are buying fertilizer at 20,000 naira, which is unfortunate.
These are irrigation farmers in Gwadabawa local government area of the state who say government interventions are often diverted by politicians before it reaches them.
The only thing we can do is to carry our money to those politicians sharing the equipment to buy at low price. But even then, the difference is very thin. Therefore, our situation is not encouraging. We are only farming because it's the only occupation we have.
Although Sokoto state government is making significant investments on agriculture, but farmers say there is still room for improvement. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News. Sokoto.
And on the foreign scene, North Korea is grappling with the spread of COVID in an unvaccinated population without access to effective antiviral drugs. In early 2020, the country sealed its borders to try to insulate itself from the pandemic. Its leadership has so far rejected outside medical support, and state media has recommended traditional treatments to deal with what is referred to as fever. And in sports, Everton have staged a dramatic fight back from 2 goals down to preserve their Premier League status with a 3-2 win against Crystal Palace, while Burnley climbed out of the relegation zone after a 1-1 draw at Aston Villa on Thursday. Frank Lampard's side recovered from conceding twice in the first half as Michael Cairn and Richarlison netted after the break before Dominic Calvert-Lewin's late winner sparked wild celebrations at Goodison Park. And that's it on News Updates. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Zainab Bala. Thank you for watching.